How does one really go about achieving total mastery of any subject? How does one go about going from knowing nothing at all to mastering it? Attaining a level where they may even originate their own brand of what it is that they dedicated their life to, or their, time, effort. What is it? I'm here to share something very simple, something that I adapted from the teachings of the Chinese philosopher Confucius. And I'm suggesting here that there just might be 5 steps, five different components. And they're incremental, they're cumulative. So in a sense, one comes after the other. You cannot skip a step here. You have to go through the steps. It seems like this just might be, at least as far as I'm concerned, it works for me. It never fails. One of the ways you go about achieving mastery in whatever it is that catches your fancy in your heart. Confucius said, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. When I saw that, it touched my heart. I thought, this is so true. This is so powerful. This is so beautiful. But I realized as I went through life that this could be expanded. This could be made a little more explicit. Just add some level of granularity. Refine it a little more so that people can truly understand it. And I'm speaking certainly around the subject of mathematical sciences, but I realize that this actually applies to music, it applies to painting, it applies to anything that we want to learn. That, at least for me, the way I learn, maybe some of you will resonate with this, that there seems to be something a little more refined. Not that I'm trying to pretend that I'm superseding the great Chinese philosopher Confucius, but I think that for us mortals who are not at his level of spiritual sophistication, and I want to suggest that you can refine this a little bit. And I realize the first step is automatic. A lot of time we learn something. The reason why we even set out to learn something is because maybe we heard about it. Somebody mentioned it to us. This might be interesting. It might take us cooking. You might take us biking or playing soccer or learning to play tennis or something else, or playing a guitar. I don't know. I don't care what it is that you want to learn. You want to take on measure theory. You want to take on probability, real analysis, or machine learning, artificial intelligence, or data science, big data, predictive analytics, all the things, sociology, anthropology. You want to learn something. One of the things that is interesting is that you sit in a lecture or you hear a video, somebody talk about it. Somebody talks about it, and then you hear it, and it's nice. Now, there are a lot of people in the world even today who hear tons of videos on YouTube, and they hear them all the time. And sometimes they'll just listen to podcasts on the radio. And what happens is, like Confucius says, if that's all you do, you will forget, because it doesn't take root in you. It doesn't have a staying place inside of you, because it's just coming one ear and going out the other. Pleasant, interesting. You may even hear and say, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. It's very nice. And that's the reason why the only way to go a little deeper is when, instead of just hearing it, you actually see it. Like you witness, like if somebody's talking about playing a guitar or something like that, or doing a certain breed of mathematics that you're interested in, building a neural network, or coding in R or Python or Java or some other fancy programming language, or some other activity. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. This is just an example. So after you hear it, one of the things that you should do is to witness it. That's why they say, if you see, you will remember. That's why he says that. So seeing affords you a certain level of storage of that information, of acquisition of that information, because that's what he says, if you see, you will remember. In other words, you want to witness it. You want to just not just hear about this show or hear about this programming language, but you want to see it in action. You want to see exactly how people go about doing it. You see it, you witness it. And that's the second level. A little bit of acquisition, something if you see, you remember. But the third, which is where I start separating myself. Instead of just saying, if you do, you understand, I think there's so many different levels there. According to me, the third level is when you explore, after seeing as just some kind of, you just see as some kind of bystander. If you actually take part in exploration, as in mathematics, it would take the form of something like, I witnessed somebody doing something or writing a piece of code, and now I redid his piece of code, or I saw this paper in the journal, I reread it several times. So now I'm not just seeing somebody reading the paper, I'm not just looking at the paper from a distance, but I'm actually now there. I'm actively participating in this exploration. That's why I call it explore. If I explore, then I will understand. Like, if you explore many theorems, like in mathematics, or explore some algorithms, like read them and read page rank several times, and read hidden Markov model several times, read about the normal distribution several times, and read about this particular guitar progression several times, and look at it and turn it left and right, many different aspects of it. That's what I call it, the exploration. Exploring. When you explore, the level of storage, the knowledge acquisition, the knowledge discovery is now deeper than just remembering. You start to understand, like the word says in English, you stand on it, you understand it. That's right. You dominate. You start to dominate it a little bit. It starts to make sense. You start to pierce into the mystery of this knowledge. Because until that moment, if all you did was to watch people do it and just witness people do it, this thing is really interesting, but you don't really know until you start exploring it, seeing different variants of it, like different incarnations, different variety, different modes of how this thing, and different shapes, and the taxonomy of it gives you that thing that we call understanding. So that exploration gives you understanding. The next step, which is number 4 in the hierarchy that I propose, is this thing called implementation, that you start to do it. Like in the case of guitar, after this is a nice progression. I see this progression is different from that one, or in the trumpet, this is different from that, or something like that. Or in mathematics, this guy explained the central limit theorem this way, that guy explained the law of large number this way, the VC dimension is explained this way, this recurrent neural network is explained by this person. Different explanation, you know it now. But the next one is when you start now implementing. When you say, yes, now I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to be an active actor. I'm going to be like a diligent actor doing this. I want to code that program. I want to redo that theorem. I want to implement that theorem on a computer. I want to explore the applications of that theorem. I want to truly do it. Like, I want to take this guitar and actually play this chord. Bing, bang, bang. Brrr. I want to get that guitar and do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And when you do it, what happens is that you comprehend. That comprehende means the knowledge is now part of you. It becomes part of you. You are acquiring it and bringing it to yourself. You're bringing it becomes part of you. It becomes, as the more you practice, it becomes literally second nature. Second nature. That's what I call to comprehend. It's now part of you, part of your nature, second nature. You comprehend. And finally, the most beautiful part of it is, in reality, in the final analysis, when you truly comprehend something because you implemented it, because you did more than just, touching the surface, you went deep into it. When you truly comprehend something, an amazing thing happens. You start to realize the nexus of it. And from that root, you may start imagining different variants of it, different forms of it. And usually that happens when you start to teach it. For us teachers, and everyone there who teaches, you see, when you stand in front of your class to teach, you're actually benefiting from that class most of the time more than your students. Because what happens, that knowledge becomes clearer to you, and new avenues of doing it. That's where creativity comes. That's where mastery comes. When you teach, when you communicate, when you share the knowledge, after you implement it, after you comprehend it by dint of implementation, and you go out and start to share it, to teach others, to show the world, amazingly, the act of showing the world somehow brings new light into that knowledge, into that particular piece of human experience. And that's when you become a master. You become a master because you're teaching, you master it so much that now you can actually create new breed of mathematics, new ways of playing the guitar, new ways that are unique to you, that others will come and learn and eventually create their own new ways. But you become like a master, an originator, an authority in that field because you went out and shared it. So those are, my friends, the 5 powerful, incredibly indomitable, invincible steps to mastery. Hear it. Yes, indeed. Witness it by seeing clearly and by experiencing with all your senses. Then explore it. Then implement it. And finally, communicate, teach, and share it. Those 5 steps provide you with the golden key to mastery. If you practice those 5 steps in anything, I don't care what it is you're trying to do. If you practice those 5 steps diligently, sincerely, with determination, you'll be amazed. It will just start coming to you. Like if every single day you come in and then play your guitar a little bit and play your guitar a little bit, and the next time you see somebody after you start playing songs very well, and just call somebody, hey man, you want to learn this song? Let me teach you a little bit. Let me show you. If that person is interested, you can show them, and then slowly and steadily, your knowledge will just grow. Same thing with mathematics, same thing with physics, same thing with astrology, astronomy, or astrology for that matter. Why not? Some people want to learn astrology, you let them learn astrology, you let them want to. And even more important, more powerfully for me, this is true when it comes to spiritual things. Those 5 steps are golden. Peace.